Hey everyone, Rob here from Think Fungi. We're going to start with some onions here. We actually have two medium-sized onions that we're going to cut into dice. This is going to make quite a bit of dip, so you can always feel free to use half of what I'm going to propose. There's actually some mushrooms, about 1.5 pounds of mushrooms that are already in the skillet. I'm going to show you that in a second. They're just in there with some oil on high heat, but make sure you give them a nice stir from time to time just to make sure that they don't burn. I'm using 3 cloves of garlic. You can use a little bit more if you really like garlic. There are my mushrooms. I'm actually going to take those out of the pan now that they're looking nice. I'm going to add in my onions. Just going to cook off the onions for a few minutes, just until they're kind of getting nice and golden. Again, this is probably a medium-high heat with a couple of tablespoons of oil. Once they're this beautiful golden color, I'm going to add in the garlic, and I'm going to let the garlic cook for an extra couple of minutes just until I really start to smell it, and that way I know that the flavors are there and it's ready to be used. In a bowl, I'm going to add 2 blocks of Philadelphia cream cheese. So this is roughly, I believe, 450 grams of cream cheese. I'm going to add a few heaping tablespoons of mayonnaise. I use low-fat mayonnaise just to kind of have a little bit less fat in this dish, but feel free to use whatever mayonnaise you have. And then I added these nice golden onions. So because the onions are hot, they're going to soften the cream cheese. But if you're wanting to make life a little easier on yourself, feel free to grab some of those blocks of cream cheese and put them in the microwave for a little bit. Not in the metal bowl, though. Get it nice and softened. You can see the onions are already doing a pretty good job of softening that, and mixed with the mayonnaise as well. Once that's pretty much all ready to go, we're going to start adding our flavor components. So first we're going to start with some Parmesan. That's one of our key ingredients. I mean, we already have some cheese in there, being pretty much entirely cheese, but we're going to add this Parmesan. And we're looking for about 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of chili flakes and about 1 teaspoon of chipotle powder. You can go with cayenne powder if you want it to make it a little extra spicy, and you can add more or less depending on what your palate says. I'm also going to put in about 1/2 cup of rough chopped parsley. And if you have some other herbs, let's say some fresh thyme or some fresh rosemary or some fresh oregano, feel free to add it in here. You know, the herbs in this case are really just meant to make a pop. Salt, pepper. I add a little bit extra pepper because I really enjoy pepper. And I give that a nice good stir. You're going to want to add a little bit more acidity to this just to break up that fat. So I'm using about 1/3 of a lemon. Just squeezing in all the juice straight in there. You could use about 1.5 tablespoons if you wanted to just use some extract lemon juice. Just give that all a nice stir. And once that's nice and smooth, you can add your mushrooms. You can see the mushrooms that I'm adding in, they're not burnt. They're just nicely cooked down. I like to keep them whole, but if you would like to chop yours up into smaller chunks, feel free to do so. I like to be able to see the mushrooms in the dip when I'm serving the mushroom dip. You can see that the 1.5 pound mushrooms, once cooked down, have resulted in maybe about 1/2 pound of mushrooms in this case, because I have not extracted all the liquid from them. I want them to still have a good mushroom base to provide the rest of the dip. So now that that's all mixed up, I'm going to put them into a serving dish. So you can put these into smaller serving dishes if you want to serve individual portions. I'm doing one big dip for a party that I'm hosting. You can feel free to serve this now as is. It would be best to put it in the fridge for a couple of hours just to allow the flavors to mingle and really penetrate all the cream cheese that's in there. And you can even put it into the oven. So a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes is sufficient to just kind of warm up that dip. You can serve it with vegetable sticks, sourdough bread, crackers, whatever makes you happy. And that's it, guys. Feel free to join us on social media at Think Fungi, basically all the social media channels, and visit us at thinkfungi.org.